All right. Welcome to our next episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your main host, Norman Kinsey. Excited about this episode. This is going to be our YouTube series episode that come out every single Monday at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time to be able to add value to individuals out there that are looking to get into YouTube, want to maximize YouTube and that platform, as we really believe here at Real Estate vs. Technology that that's going to be a big thing coming into the future. We're going to go ahead and bring our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy, into the room. What's up, Dan? How's your day going, man?
That's cooking, man. This is it's been an eventful day. We got a lot of good guests. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, for sure. We just did our main episode for Friday. So if you're not already subscribed here, hit the notification bell every Friday. We interview coaches, top performing real estate professionals, and also technology providers, add massive value to everyone who's viewing and watching. Before we have our guests come in, let's go ahead and kick off the show. Shall we, Dan?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to a new episode of Real Estate vs. Technology, your number one resource to get the inside scoop from top performing real estate professionals. How are they growing their business utilizing technology in today's market? Hear also from top performing coaches that can help and serve you in your real estate business, and also technology providers. Let's go deeper with these technology providers to ask them how they got where they're at today and how maybe their services could better serve your real estate business. A big shout out to Liftoff Agent for sponsoring our podcast. Go ahead and go to liftoffagent.com to learn about their marketing and positioning services to help scale your real estate business. If you haven't already done so, like the episode, subscribe. We want you to comment on YouTube what you learned from the episode and give us a review if you're going to be listening and streaming this podcast. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and enjoy this week's podcast of Real Estate vs. Technology. All right, welcome back, everyone. Super excited. So today we're going to be going to Huntington Beach, Orange County, California. This individual is crushing short form content. Looks like doing some things with ClickFunnels, and his YouTube channel is absolutely fire. Almost 80,000 subscribers. Jeb Smith, welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology. Super excited to have you on the show. Your studio, your lighting. I mean, I could tell you like technology, huh?
Appreciate it, guys. No, man, it's all part of the bit, right? You have to have the lights, you have to have the mic, the headphones, all that good stuff. Otherwise, you're not real. That's what I was told.
Right? It is so true. And like, what do they say now? Like the stat on if you're on Zoom and you don't have a real backdrop, it's like people actually don't really take you as serious, or they think like you're trying to hide something. It's interesting these days after COVID and now where we're at. I feel like there's that huge shift, right? I mean, this is the new norm.
No, it's good, man. It's, I get bored with the background. So I end up, the light helps change it up a little bit, but if you go back through my videos over the last couple of years, you'll see that the background changes about as often as my hairstyle does. So it's every couple of months we got a new background, just because I get bored of looking at the same thing when I'm going through these videos.
I love it. I was telling my wife the same thing. I was like, I don't know. Like, we just did some remodel in our house. I'm like, maybe we change this stuff. She's like, well, I really like the wall. I'm like, okay. All right. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm so true. I love that as well. Shows all about you, your business. Want to deep dive kind of from the beginning. So before the YouTube channel and getting into real estate, like what prompted real estate for you? Sounds like you already have a tech background. You come from the technology, tech space, or corporate world, and then that was transitioned into where you're at now with real estate world. Would love to hear.
No, not exactly. A little bit differently. So I graduated with a computer science degree back on the East Coast. North Carolina is where I'm from. I graduated back in North Carolina with a computer science degree. As soon as I graduated, moved to California for the weather and all things California. Got out here, didn't really have a career path in mind. Some people that I knew were in the real estate business through friends and family, that sort of thing. So back in 2002, kind of got slung, or actually beginning of 2003, I guess, got kind of thrown into the real estate world at that time, and primarily on the mortgage side. So I started off on the mortgage side, understanding the business and being a numbers guy coming from the computer science world. A lot of it made sense, pretty easy to comprehend. Kind of at the beginning of what was, what we saw to be a really crazy market there between, 2003 and 2008-ish, with the market just going bananas. So between that time, learned the mortgage business, was able to actually take that time, open a mortgage company myself, did very, very well, took that all the way through 2012. Meanwhile, kind of doing real estate on the side, not 100% of my focus, but 2012 was kind of, I was just fed up with the mortgage industry in general, just kind of the day in and day out of the business, transitioned 100% into real estate. been doing real estate ever since. COVID kind of brought on the whole video thing for me, just because, you know, back in March of 2020, a lot of us that were full-time real estate agents are probably looking, you know, I personally was looking at the market going, you know, if this is what we're going to be for the next couple of months, I've got to do something else. I mean, all my eggs are in one basket with regards to real estate. If I can't sell real estate, I can't make money. And I was already doing some YouTube type content. But that transitioned my style of content, the things that I was talking about, because I was primarily doing evergreen stuff, the stuff that I thought people wanted to know, like what is a 1031 tax exchange? You know, what are capital gains? Things that live on the internet forever and really don't change unless the tax laws change around them. And lo and behold, very few people actually care about that information, believe it or not. The information they should care about, they don't. What they care more about is what's happening today, because that affects them in their buying and selling. And so I started doing a lot more of that, and here we are.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I could tell. And your thumbnails and everything, it's like, holy cow. And Dan and I were talking about it right before we got on the show.
It's taken, I mean, it's transition, right? It's kind of you learn by you know, just doing. And I think with, you know, I'm not sure the direction that we're going to go here, but you know, most agents, I think, have a problem with just getting started. Getting started was never my problem. I'm kind of the guy that shoots first, asks questions later type thing, and doesn't always work. But it does work in the sense that I'm willing to get out and try new things and worry about the repercussions or whatever happens after the fact. And I've been able to get better at being on video, be more comfortable being on video, kind of learn the ins and outs of what my quote unquote avatar is looking for, the people who watch my videos are looking for. And so I've been able to tailor more content around them, been able to get better at what is clickable and what gets people to take that next step. And so that's kind of, I'm learning like everyone else. I just think because I'm doing it probably more than a lot of other people, I'm able to, I'm grasping it a little bit faster because of that.
Wow. That's
amazing.
And
that transition, right? Like, where did you start to see things start to click? Like, I think that's a moment that a lot of people ask, because they keep shooting video. They're like, I haven't closed a sale. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, where did you see that aha moment come from?
You know, it honestly, like looking back, it's tough to say. I think I started the year of 2020, if I remember correctly, around 200 or so subs on YouTube, and started. And then, you know, through that year, I don't know where I ended up at, quite frankly. I don't keep a track of those numbers specifically, but it was like March when the pandemic happened and everything was going on and mortgage forbearance became a big thing. And so being in the mortgage industry prior to being a real estate agent and understanding forbearance and understanding, like, I read a lot. It's probably my biggest advantage over most people that do these style videos is I'm constantly reading on the news, on trends, on whatever with regards to real estate, because it's my business, but I'm also interested in it outside of that. And so mortgage forbearance was a new thing. And along with stimulus and all of these things happening in the market, I started talking about them on video. Well, a lot of people were really, really worried about their situation, right? Not being able to make payments, just how it affected them personally, the fear, if you will. And so fear spreads faster than anything else. We know that. And so when I started talking about forbearance, I was addressing somebody's fear out there in the market. And those videos, you know, my normal videos would get, I don't know, a couple hundred, views or what have you. And then started seeing thousands of views on this stuff, you know? And so for a while, I was really kind of following news headlines. Not proud to say that, but that was kind of my, you know, genre for probably 4 to 6 months. I was kind of following, hey, because the COVID was so rampant, we didn't really know what the repercussions were going to be. But I started taking it and trying to make sense of it. Like, this is happening. And, you know, yes, all these businesses are shut down, but yet real estate is still going crazy. And these are all the reasons why real estate will likely continue to do well during this time. And it was a lot like my videos now, where I'm still promoting the idea of home ownership and and why real estate is important and why I don't believe it's going to crash. And, I still have the same people that were commenting on videos back in 2020 talking about the same things. They're still doing it today. Right. And so it's one of those things, you're touching a point that it's one of those things that it's a tough point to talk about, because you have two sides, right? You have the people that truly believe there is a crash coming for one reason or another, whether it's they truly believe it or they want to believe it. You have that. And then you have the people who, in my opinion, are a little bit more level-headed, a little bit more data dependent, understand, supply and demand truly, and can talk about it from that side. And so, you want to get somebody riled up, start talking about the idea of the market not crashing, because it for whatever reason, that pisses a lot of people off. And so, I've tried to transition my videos from the new stuff to updating on the market, and then covering things that I know, that I find helpful in the business, that I feel like people can benefit from. I mean, my whole goal with the channel is really to educate. That's what it started as. It was never meant to be a business. It was never meant to be my second job, if you will. It was really just an education, a platform to provide information that I think is people need to know. Because being on the mortgage side, I know what it's like to get people that have no idea, what they're doing, and they call you and they say, "Hey, I want a mortgage," and you just pre-qualify them and you say, "This is what you can afford." They don't ask any questions. They're pre-approved. They go out, they make an offer on a house. 30 days later, they're a homeowner. They learned nothing. They have no idea what just took place. And I think it's important to understand that process, because it's, such an integral part. It's such a big purchase. And that was the goal, and still is the goal. Although the content has transformed a little bit.
Yeah. I like that knowledge aspect of it, because I think what you just said is a lot of people don't touch on, because this is a commission-based business. So you have real estate agents that want to show you houses and get you into a home and obviously get paid. And you have mortgage brokers that want to write pre-approvals and also get paid. And sometimes those two elements together, when you don't have good advisory or good, like, hey, is this a good investment? Like a house that I should be buying, or no, the house is right next to the railroad tracks, or hey, they're building a industrial building behind this, right? This isn't a good investment. All of those little components is that when you start to unlock that box and start to share the things you should be thinking about, for me, that's what I've noticed is magnetize people to that content, and you get way more views.
I agree. I mean, I've been on that side where you need to close the deal. Not that you'll say anything, but it's not that you're avoiding anything, but you just want to close the deal for whatever, because you need to, for financially. Fortunately, I'm at a point in my career now, I've been really fortunate in this business to begin with, because I kind of learned early on that, that relationships are really the foundation of building any successful business, really in a commission-based business, for one, and real estate. So I focus on relationships, right? I'm a big Brian Buffini guy. I'm a big, build advocates of your business and let them help you build your business. And so I've always kind of transitioned to, hey, trying to be transparent, trying to build relationships, do the right thing. And because of that, it's helped me out. And now I'm in a position where I don't have to, like, if the deal goes sideways, because for whatever reason we discover something, it's great. Like I'm glad we found it now versus after the fact and you're unhappy, right? I'd rather have a happy client than somebody that is, not happy with me because they felt like we missed something or did something wrong.
And then you paid your bills and it's like, well,
funny. I mean, to make this really brief, as I had a client that on the investment side that he said a comment that he didn't know me that well, but I was trying to teach him about investments. He's a professional in another industry. And then we had an inspection done, and the inspection compared to all other inspections, it was very light. Like these are things that can be done and remedied within a couple $1,000 or, negotiated off the price for even more. And then you can hire somebody and you just made money. But long story short is that he was like, "Oh, I know you want to get paid." Or he said something along the lines of like, I know you want to close the deal so you get paid. And I said, "Stop." I said, you could literally fire me today and I would not be affected financially. I said, I'm here to advise you on when you're making smart real estate decisions. Mm-hmm. And walking away from this transaction right now is not a smart real estate transaction. You're getting it like at 20% under market value and in the best rental area of the entire city. And you're walking away from a deal that if I threw this to another investor, they gobble it up like Pac-Man. And that's what people want.
No,
and
that's where you want to be in your business. I mean, and I wouldn't say technology. Technology is definitely going to help you get there in different ways, but you still got to have the foundation in place.
Yeah, agreed. So going to your YouTube channel, so in light or in thoughts for our viewers and listeners, right? So light for them, and really just thinking about kind of like the YouTube videos, the thumbnails, like, because what we've seen on the show is a couple different options. You could do, like, we just had living in or moving to Hawaii on the show. They just came on and we had their creative director on. Shout out to the core team. And then there's that. And then that's area content, or you could do client type focused content. Like Dan does investor content, really good about that. And you kind of go off a little bit more of like the news, the headlines. And I see your content about 3 years ago, you're getting about 200-300 views. And then you just, because of your thumbnails, the copy, and probably your SEO work, because you're a tech person, you definitely have 2,000, 3,000, and then all the way up to the top. I mean, you're getting hundreds of thousands of views, and you can tell that you've really working on the thumbnails, like the way that you're pointing, the way that your facial expressions express an emotion that's going to cause a click. People call this clickbait for anyone out there that loves watching YouTube videos. So what would you say would be a moment for you where you're like, okay, I did this type of thumbnail, and then now this type of thumbnail, this type of copy? Was there one of those moments for you outside of just the number specifically? Because you could equate numbers to thumbnail, click through, so on and so forth. But like, it looks like there was a moment for you or your team that were like, all right, we need to change up your thumbnails. Like, we need to go this direction because it's going to help with the click-through rate.
I think there's a couple of things. One is, so I'm a one-man show to some extent, right? I don't do the video editing anymore. Editing is now done. I have 2 different VAs that do my editing for me.
Nice.
So editing was a key change. Now here's the thing, like, looking back on this, I don't remember specifically, the chicken or the egg, right? Which came first. But I do know that what has helped over time for sure is hiring somebody else to do the editing, right?
Okay.
Taking that off your plate, because you can do it so cheaply, so inexpensively. Cheaply is not the right word. Inexpensively, by hiring somebody else to do it, taking that off your plate. Plus, they do a better job. That's their job, right? For most of these people. For me, I sell real estate. Can I edit a video? Sure. It's not going to be anywhere near as good as what they're doing. But editing is a key component. Lighting and sound, both key components. If I were somebody starting out in video, where would I focus? Light and sound, 1,000%. That is, you can have a good enough camera. Doesn't have to be great. Filming now on the setup's probably $4,000 or $5,000. All in. Do you need that? No, you absolutely don't. But I have it because it's easy just to click a button and start it, and it's all set up in my office. Can you do it from your phone? Sure. But light and sound for sure. Hiring an editor, but I think going back a little bit and understanding titles and thumbnails is probably the number one thing as a content creator to figure out. And I say that because there's a line, almost a line in the sand, where you have to be able to get somebody to click on that video, right? You can have the greatest video in the world with the best sound you've ever heard, the best lighting, best camera. You can have a $10,000 setup, but if nobody clicks on that video to watch it, it means absolutely nothing. So you've got to get the click through to be able to get to that next step. And if they like it, they'll follow and subscribe and come back and all of that good stuff. But, and the reason I say there's a fine line is because for the longest time, I was against the idea of clickbaity-ish type thumbnails, because I'm like, I'm misrepresenting what I'm trying to do. And then I started talking to some different creators, some who you guys know that are big creators out there in the space. And, some advice was basically like, listen, if you're addressing what it is in the video, whether you agree with it or disagree with the title or the thumbnail, if you're addressing it in some form or fashion, it's not clickbait. Clickbait is when you're selling the idea of something entirely different than what you're representing as a whole. And I was like, true or not true? I'm like, I agree with that statement. Some people would still disagree with it, and that's okay. I agree with the statement. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start making more thumbnails where they're a little bit more edgy. And from there, I've gotten to the point where some of these probably are clickbait to some extent. But I know at this point what people click on. And you know pretty fast in the comments what people think, you know, whether they like the video, whether they had a problem with the thumbnail. People have no problem letting you know what they think. And fortunately, I have pretty thick skin, so I'm able to take it in stride. But you know, that's something to keep in mind out there too. If you're going to post online, be prepared that you're going to piss people off, and not everyone's going to agree with what you have to say, fact or not.
I love that. I love that. I think a question that everyone has in their mind, and especially when you go click the link down below, go subscribe. Can you earn money off of YouTube? I know you can monetize, right? That's one thing, but then transactional wise, working with buyers, working with sellers, how long did it take you before you saw that first like actual return on investment from your YouTube channel?
You know, I started making, so I think the first dollar I earned in ad revenue was in 2020, in April of 2020. I closed deals that year in 2020 from buyers. I don't remember if there were sellers in 2020. I think there were sellers in 2020. I have the numbers. I just don't have anything in front of me.
Yeah.
But buyers and sellers in 2020, 2021, similar thing. 2022, again, less in 2022 than 2021, for whatever reason. And I don't know if I was pitching, like I've never actively pitched myself as a real estate agent. It's actually surprising, right? Because I often have this question in my head. Do I not tell people I'm a real estate agent? Because people will say, dude, I didn't even know you sold real estate. I thought you just did YouTube. I'm like, really? Like you thought I just did this for fun? But going back, I am making it more aware. I actually have some notes in front of me now that I put on my tripod. It's like, tell people what you do, ask for business. And so as I've gotten better at doing that, I've gotten more business, believe it or not. And it's never felt comfortable. It's never something like I've always felt I don't like being in front of the camera, for one. And that might seem odd to a lot of people. I don't like being the center of attention. I'm okay giving my thoughts, my opinions. I just, for whatever reason, don't care much to be the focal point of anything, like birthday parties that, you know, they're singing me happy birthday. I'm like, I feel weird with the whole thing. But so, you know, getting comfortable with being in front of the camera has come over time. It's not something that I enjoy, but I've gotten better at asking people to subscribe and like the video. I think it's necessary to some extent. Timing is important in that whole thing. And I'm still trying to figure all that out. In some videos, you know, do you do it early on? Do you do it at the end? Do you not do it at all? It's one of those things. But also, you know, I had a home buyer course that I created back in, 2021. And, you know, never did anything with it, quite frankly. Just had a link, had it set up on ClickFunnels, had a landing page, the whole thing set up, and never once pushed it. Put it in the description of videos, never said anything. So about 2 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 4 months ago, I started saying, you know what? It's out there. I'm just going to put it out there. And the reason I've never pushed it is because I could have done better with the content. I could have done better with the editing, but the information's good. The information I'm giving, I feel like there's value in that information. And I've always struggled with the idea like I'm selling a course of all this information that you can find on the internet for free. Right. And so I'm like, am I really doing it? So I said, you know what? Screw it. I've created this thing. I'm going to put it out there. People want it. They can buy it. And so guess what? People start buying it and it starts selling like pretty quickly. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like all you have to do is mention something and ask people to do something. And a lot of times they'll do it. So yes, you can make money off of YouTube in many ways. I mean, not only closing buyers and sellers. And last year I closed 19 out-of-state referrals of sending business to other agents in other states that I actually know a lot of these agents, and I'm able to pass on a referral to them. So that's nice. You have, you know, selling courses, just different pieces of the puzzle. So it's
amazing.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I think Dan, Jed, you're the first person that we've actually had on the show that's actually monetize and seeing ad revenue from their channel. I think we had a few other ones like living in Dallas, Texas, and probably the core team with moving to Hawaii. Yeah, probably Mark Sherrard as well.
And guys, it's a sizable amount of money. Like, people don't understand like what you can make off of YouTube ad revenue for 5-second little spots.
I was gonna say I just started getting I have 432 more hours until 4,000 watch hours.
Okay. Yeah. And don't get at first it's not going to be anything. You're going to make $1, $2 a day, $1 here and there, 50, like it's nothing. But I'll tell you, like, if you stay consistent with the content, the real estate space is considered like financial advice, if you will. And essentially that brings the highest CPMs on YouTube ad revenue. And so you can make, I made a decent amount of money last year off of it, enough to pay mortgage bills, all of that stuff. It's, it's something that now that I've done it, I'm like, I can't really stop doing it because, I know how much money can be made off of that side of the business.
Yeah. And that's where I feel like, and that was just like the aha moment of this episode for me personally, where viewers and listeners out there, you got to listen up. Like, YouTube is where it's at. You're not getting paid. Instagram has the $5 a month subscription. Like, get out of here. Okay. You're not getting paid from a platform where you can market your business like you can on YouTube anywhere else, and agents have not even, they haven't even woken up yet. They haven't even seen it. And that's why we had this new segment. And shout out to our sponsor, Liftoff Agent, as we do video editing and thumbnails and creation. Exactly what Jed does, we do for clients, and it's so powerful. And I think scale is a big part of it as well to go through that process. So congratulations, Jed. This is just absolutely amazing. I'm loving the show.
No, man, it's good stuff. And here's what I'll say on like, I make money off Instagram and Facebook and that sort of thing. It's peanuts. Like, yes, I make enough to buy maybe a decent bottle of wine. Like $100. It's a joke. And again, all of that content is being repurposed anyway. So it's not like I'm making specific content for a lot of this stuff. But Instagram, I'm actually making shorter form content directly for Instagram, which I repurposed on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and sort of thing. But honestly, like, if I didn't do that ever again, my business wouldn't change at all. I'm just doing it to be relevant because I know there are people out there that aren't watching YouTube, that are in my inner circle, my sphere, if you will, that follow me. And like, if I'm not posting stuff, they'll forget that I sell real estate. So I'm just trying to stay in front of the right people.
That's amazing. Well, I know we're getting close to 30 minutes, right, Dan? So it's time to open it up the floor. So we like to, at the end of the episodes, have just one thing, one takeaway, one piece of advice. I don't know. What would you leave with our viewers and listeners that want to kick off a YouTube channel, have a YouTube channel, they're getting stuck? Could be the thumbnails. Hope that helped anyone out there that's viewing and listening. We know the CPM's high for this type of content, so less excuse for someone who's viewing and watching to start a YouTube channel themselves. But what would you leave with our viewers and listeners as we close up today?
Good question. I would say the most important thing I've learned in making content, and it's that I am not my audience. Okay. And what I mean by that is a lot of people will film video. A lot of people will do, the thing and just not be comfortable with it for whatever reason. Perfection. They don't like it. They don't think other people are going to like it. Whatever the reasoning is. Me realizing that I'm not my audience basically has helped me understand, because I'll post a video. And what I mean by this is I'll post a video occasionally, less today than say a year ago, but that I was like, I got to put a video out. It's not great. In fact, it sucks. I probably need to refilm it. And I just put it out there, and people would comment and talk about how great the video was. And I'm thinking, really? Like, you think that's good? Or they found value in it or whatever. And I'm like, wow. Because I guess for me looking at it, I expect a higher caliber content from myself, not from anyone else. I expect that of me. And so I think if you're filming, most people feel like that about themselves. They don't like their voice. They don't like the way they look. They don't whatever. So you can't get to the next step without posting. And it's really just, it's the most cliche thing to say, but you got to get in front of the camera and just turn it on and film. I've challenged a lot of different people to do 30 days of filming. Film 30 videos in 30 days.
I love it.
Not going to be easy. In fact, it's going to suck. But what I will tell you is that at the end of that 30 days, you're going to be a different person than you were 30 days prior. And it's all about just pushing the button and recording. And I would say you can find an editor out there, film a video that you think sucks. Like if you mess up, start from there and just refilm. I used to film all of my videos in one take, guys. One take. That is something that changed. That's probably, if you want to learn what changed my videos, that was probably it. In realizing that I didn't need to start from the beginning. I could just stop and start talking again. And that somebody could edit that piece together and make it sound pretty good with some jump cuts and some B-roll and whatever else. So film it, send it to somebody to edit, and see what it comes back. You'll be really surprised. I tell my wife all the time, I'm watching an edited video. I'm like, wow, I didn't know what this thing was going to turn out. And I'm like, nah, it's pretty good. Like I thought the thing sucked, and I was watching it and doing the research, and I filmed it. It took me 10 times just to get the hook off the beginning because I just couldn't get it out for whatever. And then I watched the video back and I'm like, I'm actually pretty happy with it. And so that doesn't come overnight. It comes with time and just doing the work. So do the work.
Wow. I love that, Jed. Thanks so much for coming on today's episode. I think this is a huge action-packed episode for people to watch and listen to and really be like, whoa, like there's a lot to unpack here. I advise everyone to go back, rewatch the videos, and you're a prime example. You can start with your phone. And then, like you said, you're pretty much one-man band, and then you outsource the editing. But at the end of the day, you're a proven case study. Like, hey, anyone can do this stuff.
It works, guys. It does work.
Yeah. Thanks for being on, Smith or Dan. Thanks so much for being our co-host. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah. Great to meet you, Jeb. I'm going to keep in contact with you. And
happy to do an update anytime, guys.
This is inspiring.
I love this sort of thing.
Got to get you back in a year and see where you're at, see how things are going. We'd love to have you back on.
Sounds like a plan. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Viewers and listeners out there, thank you so much for watching. As it is our intention for you to take things from our episode, apply to your business, have more massive success. Subscribe to the notification bell. Comment below with what you learned. Links are down below. Go check out Jeb Smith's YouTube channel, and we will see you all on the next one.